Have you ever seen a new manga coming out and think, man, that looks really cool, I want to read that? Then you sit down, read the first chapter, you enjoy it, but that's all there is. And life is busy sometimes, and either due to a weekly or monthly release, with the occasional hiatus, you end up falling behind and just tell yourself, I'll read it all when it's finished. Well, that's exactly what I told myself back when JoJo's bizarre adventure Crazy Diamond's Demonic Heartbreak started back in 2021. But then it ended mid last year, and I kind of forgot all about it until just recently, when I saw that Viz Media plans to officially bring this spin-off manga to the West later this year. And I thought, okay, wow, that's kind of a big deal. So I sat my ass down, read all 16 chapters of the fan translation, and it was genuinely fantastic, being able to stand on its own, but also carry the spirit of JoJo, showing a deep understanding of its world and characters, while offering a new style and perspective on it all. This is in part thanks to the spin-off's author, Kohei Kodono, who had previously written the fan-beloved light novel, Purple Haze Feedback, which acts almost like a sequel to Golden Wind that follows Fugo seeking redemption after abandoning the main group, and some of the elements from that light novel were added to Part 5's anime, while the artwork is done by Tasuku Karasuma, the creator of No Guns Life, which has shared a magazine with JoJo in Ultra Jump from 2014 to 2021, which to my understanding is a kind of 6 out of 10 story, but the art is top notch. And together, these two were really able to create something special with Demonic Heartbreak that felt every bit as JoJo as some of Araki's own work, and is a concept Kodono has had in mind since 2013, so it's been a long time coming. He just had to wait for the rights to the spin-off to be granted, and after that, he says Araki would give him full creative freedom of the world and characters, and that he's never met any other writer like him. So for those who haven't read Crazy Diamond's Demonic Heartbreak yet, or maybe waiting for the official release, I'll just give you guys a brief synopsis of its plot and some analysis, as it's just way too interesting to not talk about, and I'll try to keep it generally spoiler free, and tell you guys what I think makes this spin-off so special, and why it's maybe the most important spin-off of JoJo to date. So the manga takes place in between parts 3 and 4 in the year 1999, shortly before the events of Part 4, and we begin in Egypt through the perspective of Hol Horse, the beloved gunslinger from Part 3, who accepts a request from a helpless old lady to help find her missing parrot. The parrot originally belonged to the same trainer as Pet Shop, although after he died trying to escape from Dio, the bird had to be looked over by his mother, and is assumed to be a stand user like Pet Shop. But now the other bird has gone missing, which is her last connection to her son, and Hol Horse can never say no to a woman in need, so he humbly accepts her request. The first chapter mainly takes place in Cairo, where we see the aftermath of Dio's death, the psychological impact he's left on his victims, and a few other surviving members of Dio's army, as Hol Horse seeks out Boingo to use his future-predicting stand Toth to help find the parrot. Although he's freeloading out at Mariah's place, which is an abandoned bar disguised by Kenny G's stand tenor sax, so it kinda looks like Dio's mansion, as apparently Mariah is now married to Kenny G. Yes, Kenny G of all people managed to lock down Mariah somehow, and upon meeting up with Boingo, Toth leads them all the way to the town of Morio, where shortly after arriving, Hol Horse makes a chance encounter with Josuke Higashikata, leading them to team up together to find the missing parrot. So while the manga is primarily focused on this unlikely duo, there is also a brand new character thrown into the mix, Ryoko Kakyoin, who acts more as a neutral party, trying to find the truth behind her cousin's death in Egypt 10 years ago, who was obviously Noriaki Kakyoin from Part 3, and she only remembers the name Dio, which she sees again in Boingo's comic, which gets her wrapped up in the plot. So the story plays with a lot of cool ideas, bringing back familiar characters, and utilizes fan service in the best way possible, as throughout the manga we are constantly seeing moments from the past, as the missing parrot, Pet Sounds, has a stand with the ability to replay the past, storing sounds in the form of punch cards and inserting them into people, trapping them in a previous memory, forced to replay or parrot past events, kinda similar to Moody Blues, which is referenced through this ability as expressed by the eyes of those who are under its control. And this ability gives a lot of creative freedom to create a bunch of unique interactions, like Dio attacking Josuke, how Dio and Darby first met, and just a lot of Dio in this manga, as Pet Sounds mostly retains memories of Dio because it's assumed that Dio knew about the bird's power like he did Pet Shop's, and kept it on his shoulder most of the time to store as many memories and interactions as possible to use later down the road. And the whole plot revolving around this parrot that used to be Dio's pet might seem a bit bit random, but this whole idea is based on a bird we had seen on Dio's shoulder in chapter 14 of Stardust Crusaders, who looks awfully similar to Pet Sounds, as when we saw Dio recruiting Polnareff, he had a bird that clearly wasn't Pet Shop, so the author Kodono found a clever way to connect his story to the source material, and whether it's officially considered canon or not, it still fits and makes sense within the story, not necessarily changing anything about the original, only adding more depth to the world and characters. This is also accomplished through Kakyoin's cousin, Ryoko, who brings a twist to the age-old fanfiction, what if Kakyoin was in part 4, but in the most official capacity, as we see Ryoko in Morio interacting with Josuke and carrying a bit of Kakyoin's will alongside her. But what makes all of these ideas actually work and feel like JoJo is that it's not fan service just for the sake of fan service. These characters aren't in the manga to just point at and go, oh look, it's Dio again, and Kakyoin! They all serve to fulfill the themes of the story and respective character arcs. Hol Horse, for example, is still haunted by the memory of Dio even 10 years after his death, and experiences real depictions of PTSD, but growing as a person, learning what it means to truly be the Emperor and the Lord of his own soul. While Ryoko is searching for closure and the truth behind the family she's lost, which all ties into this theme of past and future, remembering and understanding the past to build a better future and grow as a person, but not letting the past hold you back, which is symbolized by the overall power system of the manga, as the heroes use Thoth to find the future while the enemy is using the past against them. So the manga is simply 16 chapters of peak JoJo. I'll leave it at that, and you should definitely read it, especially if you ever find yourself missing Josuke, as he is just as lovable here as he was in part 4. But why do I think this is the most important spin-off? Well, for starters, it's the first actual manga published as JoJo without Araki. Before this, it's just been light novels which have never been officially published in the West. But in just a year's time, Demonic Heartbreak will officially release in English, with the possibility of an anime adaptation, down the road, not out of the question, considering the other spin-off, The Spoke Rohan Kishibe, is already animated and gets new episodes semi-frequently, and I'm sure David Production or any other studio would love a chance to bring back Dio, Josuke, Darby, Hol Horse, and Kakyoin, and especially bringing them all together. The hype for that would just be insane and could probably be done in 12 episodes or less. And thinking more towards the future, this could be just the start of a larger JoJo world in terms of the manga, with more stories from more artists who, like Kodono, understand and appreciate the original work, that offers new perspectives and acts as supplementary material alongside Araki. Obviously, we don't want JoJo to become overly commercialized, pushing out new content no matter the quality, like a Dragon Ball and Naruto and Boruto over the years, but just fun spin-offs like this every once in a while and giving artists opportunities. That would be really cool and could just enhance the whole world of JoJo and experience as fans. And definitely let me know what you guys think about that idea, if it's actually possible for there to be manga and anime under the name JoJo without Araki, but still feel like it belongs. Because I think Demonic Heartbreak gets pretty damn close by not exactly trying to mimic Araki, but rather presents its own style and perspective while staying true to the pre-existing world and characters. But that's all I got for now. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Please drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and go read Demonic Heartbreak, obviously, or look forward to the English release if you're more of a physical manga enjoyer. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.